do your Dragster. Okay, so open up Solidworks. Okay, so Solidworks should be located in your All Programs menu. If you scroll right down to
Just type in Solidworks.
in your menu, you should be able to find Solidworks. It's all the way down, and it's the times 64-bit edition. Okay, it should say times 64. Your Solidworks page will look something like this. Okay, you'll need to open up a new document. Okay, so file, new.
Just keep on undoing stuff.
Right, and you need to make sure that part is selected. File, new part. Okay, then we click OK. Alright, so then this is your 3D space, this is your design tree, these are your two tabs which you're going to work on to do this, okay? So your sketch tab and your features tab. Have your sketch tab selected, then click on the front plane, then you need to click normal to rotate your front plane so it's front on. Then what you need to do is draw a rectangle. Okay, so we're drawing the block of timber that you need to have. So then you're going to remove material away from that block of timber, just like you would in the workshop. So I'm just going to click and drag. So there's my rectangle. Now at the moment I've got no idea how big that rectangle is, so I need to dimension it. Okay, my dimension tool is located up here. It's called the Smart Dimension tool. It's in the Sketch tab. All you've got to do is click on that Sketch tab, click on the line, drag up, and click again, and then you should have a number that comes up. Your block of timber is 240 millimeters long, so we need to make that 240 millimeters, 240 mm. Enter. Okay. I'm going to zoom out with my mouse button, the middle mouse button scrolling out and inwards using the wheel on my mouse button. 240, now the side of my rectangle or my timber needs to be 70. Okay, so I need to make that 70 using the Smart Dimension tool again. 70 mm. And I'm going to click on that tick. Okay, now I'm ready to make this 3D. So in my Features tab, I can now click Extrude, and it should make this a three-dimensional shape. The block of your timber is 30 millimeters or 3 centimeters deep, so that's what you're going to need to do. So under your dimension here, you can type in 30 millimeters, or you can just press up a couple times, and it'll make it 30 millimeters thick. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm able to rotate. I'm able to rotate this, and I'm able to zoom in and out with my middle mouse button. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to subtract some of the area which I don't want. Okay. So it starts to look like a dragster. So what I need to do is sketch on my surface. Again, I'm going to go normal too, so it rotates it for me. And now, under my Sketch tab, I'm going to use this tool called the Spline tool, which lets me draw curves. And this way I can subtract material that I don't want. Okay? So I'm going to do that now. So I've got my Spline tool selected. And all I need to do is click, okay, to the shape that I want. Okay, make sure that your shape is joint at the end, so you've got a valid profile. If you have a shape that isn't quite complete, that's called an invalid profile, and it's not going to extrude your it's not going to extrude cut the area that you want. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've drawn a shape around the area that I want Solidworks to cut out for me. I'm ready to do that. If I want to edit any of these points, all I need to do is right click on this space here, click select, and then I can just click on any one of these points to change the shape. Now I'm ready to extrude cut. All I need to do is click on the Features tab and extrude cut, just like that. We know that the thickness of our timber is 30 millimeters, and we extruded at 30 millimeters. So our extrude cut should also be 30 millimeters, so that we're actually cutting all the way through. So extrude cut, and as you can see, that our shape is starting to emerge. Okay, now what I want to do is insert a canister hole at the back of my dragster. So what I'm going to do is rotate my dragster. I'm going to select that back face. I'm going to click up here in view orientation. I'm going to click normal to, and then I'm going to click on my sketch tab. Now what I want to do is sketch and draw a center line tool all the way down so I can draw my circle in the middle. Okay, I've selected this face so I can sketch on it. Now that I've got it selected, I can click on my center line tool, which is located underneath my line tool. Might use my mouse for that. Just like that. And if I hover over the top edge of this block, I can see a little node that pops up, and that tells me that that is exactly the middle between those 2 points. And so I can draw my center line all the way down, just like so. Right click, select. Okay, so there's my center line. Now what I want to do is sketch a circle on that center line, just like that. Okay. Now I know that the canister that we're going to use is about 19 or so millimeters in diameter. So I'm going to make this hole a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it 20 millimeters in diameter, just using the Smart Dimension tool. And I'm going to click on there, drag out, click again, and 20 millimeters, 20 mm to 0 mm is what I want that to be. And also I want that to be roughly 30 millimeters from the bottom of my dragster, so that when we have our starting gates, the pin is actually able to reach our canister. Okay, so just something to remember, it needs to be about 30 millimeters from the bottom. So click on the center of your circle and then the bottom edge, and that should be about 30, or no, it can be more than 30, but no less than 30 millimeters. Okay, now I'm able to extrude cut. Okay, this is a new feature, extrude cut. So before we use extrude, now we're going to use extrude cut. An extrude cut is going to remove material, just like we did before, for removing the top half of our timber. Okay, so extrude cut, and I know my canister is about 50 millimeters long, and it needs to stick out by 10 millimeters, so that hole needs to be 40 millimeters deep. 40 millimeters deep. So I've set that to 40. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click my middle mouse button and rotate it around so I can see my dragster. I can see that it's cut that hole out. Now what I need to do is I need to cut my holes for my axle. So what I need to do is sketch a couple holes for the axle of my wheels, and those axles need to be 5 millimeters in diameter. So I've just selected by clicking on this face. Again, I'm going to click normal to, just like that, and I'm going to click on the sketch tab. I'm going to click on the circle tool, zoom in, and I'm just going to draw a circle, and I'm going to Smart Dimension that circle to 5 millimeters, 5 mm. I'm going to click OK. Now for the other side, in order for those two circles to be aligned, I'm going to grab my circle tool again, and I'm just going to hover over the middle of that circle, and I'm going to drag out just like that. And you can notice that there's a dotted line. There's a dotted line that continues from that middle of that circle all the way out, and I can draw another circle, and that's going to tell me that those two circles are aligned. And I'm going to Smart Dimension that to 5 millimeters as well, 5 mm. Enter, or OK. Features, extrude cut. I want to extrude cut by at least 30. That's going 40, which is plenty. I can use my arrow here to drag if I want to drag, or you can just type in anything more than 30. Any number more than 30 will extrude cut all the way through. And there are my axles. If I wanted to extrude, cut anything else, let's say a hole in the middle here, I just follow the same process. And that is to select that surface, click on my sketch tab, and draw a shape on that surface, and then click extrude cut. The next tutorial, I'm going to go through how to assemble your dragster wheels, and your dragster hopefully will look something like this.
Wow.